What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I am your host, Kory Willis. I hope everyone is doing well out there. We got a lot of topics to talk about. Just wrapped up week 0 of the college football season, so we'll definitely talk about that in just a moment. If you're joining us on the podcast, we very much appreciate it. Be sure to dislike on any of the platforms that you prefer, and subscribe. We're on many different platforms right now, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Apple Music, along with Amazon Audible and iHeartRadio. So we're on those different platforms right now. We're looking to expand in the future. So short week, of course, with week 0. I'm actually doing the podcast by myself here. Chris is actually out of town right now, so he couldn't be able to be with us this week, but hopefully next week he'll be back with us to talk about week 1. So yeah, week 0 wrapped up yesterday. I'd say it was great to get a little taste of what college football is all about. So I was very pleased for us to finally get back into the thick of things with college football. So yeah, let's go over it. Like I said, guys, this is going to be a very short show. Not as many games this week, but I'd say some interesting things nonetheless. We'll start off with Notre Dame taking on Navy in Dublin, Ireland. Notre Dame really came in and gave Navy the business in this game. Notre Dame won 42-3. Sam Hartman, he was 19 for 23, 251 yards with 4 touchdowns. So I'd say that was a pretty good day for the Fighting Irish out in Dublin. Overall, from what I can kind of tell from this team, it's week 1, but you can kind of get a little, maybe just a little a take of how their season might or might not go. Overall, they look stout, very aggressive, which is something I know a lot of Notre Dame fans want to see. They want to see that aggressiveness, and I think it showed very much so in this game. But in terms of Sam Hartman, he looked really good at quarterback. I'm very pleased with what I saw in week 1 from him. So that's pretty much all I can say right now. Is he looked really good. We want to see what stiffer competition from Notre Dame, and particularly Sam Hartman, would look like as we progress throughout the season. We can pull up Notre Dame's schedule just so you guys can get an idea of what their season is going to look like. So next week they're going to be playing Tennessee State. So it's another opponent where they're going to have much more talent. So they're not going to be worried too much at all about that game unless they come out and they literally sleepwalk, because you never know when someone can be beat in college football. But I think they'll take care of Tennessee State just fine. They got NC State. They have to go to NC State on September the 9th. So that's going to be interesting. A game against Ohio State. That will be interesting. Luckily, they don't have to go to Ohio State. So yeah, that game is going to be September 23rd on NBC. A couple other games. They do have to play USC at home. So that'll be October the 14th. Have to go to Clemson on November the 4th. So I'm just pretty much just kind of going down the big games for Notre Dame this season. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting schedule for Notre Dame. Can they handle a schedule like this? Because most teams, let's say like SEC teams, even Big Ten teams, even Big 12 teams, with Texas and Oklahoma having their last go at it this year. That's going to be interesting to know how all of that takes shape. So, yeah, that was a game between Notre Dame and Navy. Like I said, nothing too particular happened. Notre Dame took care of business, which I think we all felt like they would have. And yeah, they came out of their game with a victory and a nice trip to Dublin, Ireland. So yeah, next game we'll talk about USC. USC, just like Notre Dame, they played at home. They played against San Jose State and defeated the Spartans 56-28. Caleb Williams had a great day. He was 18 for 25, 278, and 4 touchdowns. Yeah, Caleb Williams, he definitely had a great day, of course. The whole USC team, overall, I'd say it was pretty much just like Notre Dame's game, where they just dominated. Um, Nothing too much. It came out from this game, of course. So yeah. So now that we got those games out of the way, guys, I'm going to just go down and give you a quick rundown of this week. So we had Jacksonville State defeating UTEP 17-14. UMass defeated New Mexico State 41-30. San Diego State defeated Ohio 20-13. Florida International lost to La Tech, Louisiana Tech, that is, 22-17. And probably one of my favorite games of week 0 was the Commodores. The Vanderbilt Commodores defeated Hawaii 35-28. That was a really good game. Hawaii looked like they were going to make a comeback, and Vanderbilt said, no, not in our house. We got to win one for the good folks in Nashville. So shout out to Vanderbilt for the win. And yeah. So one other game, and I'll kind of go into the HBCU spectrum of the show. We all know about Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, heading out to Colorado to take that team to new heights that they probably haven't been a part of in quite a long time. So yeah, I got a chance to watch the Jackson State Tigers take on South Carolina State this weekend, and yeah, I was very impressed with brand new head coach TC Taylor's squad down there in Jackson, Mississippi. They defeated the Bulldogs 37-7. Their quarterback, he looked very, very good. Jason Brown, he threw for 361 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, really good day from him. No picks. So I'm really interested to see how he excels going forward, because I know last year with Shedeur at quarterback for Jackson State, that was the expectation, especially being Coach Prime's son. That was the expectation of greatness. So once he left, you really wanted to see, hey, can Jackson State really make sure that quarterback position is taken care of as well as you can, and hey, it showed on Saturday. So interested to see how the rest of the season goes in the HBCU football. The HBCU football is just as competitive as all of the other conferences that we see week in and week out in college football. So yeah, be sure on the lookout when there is a HBCU game on. Take a look at this talent, because you could find your next star player in the SWAC or the MEAC. Anywhere in HBCU football. So one other thing before we do talk about the top games for week 1 is that Buddy Pugh, this is his last season coaching the Bulldogs at South Carolina State. Um, if you remember a few years ago, South Carolina State defeated Deion Sanders and the Jackson State Tigers in the HBCU National Championship game, which was a big victory for Buddy Pugh and his squad. So I'm sure when it comes time to put him into the HBCU Hall of Fame, he will be one of the top men, if not the top man on that list. And I can't wait to see that because he is a really, really good coach. And didn't know that Billy Napier, head coach of the Florida Gators, he's a part of that Buddy Pugh tree. So that was very interesting for me to find out and kind of get some college football history in. So yeah, hopefully things kind of turn around for the Bulldogs. I know they didn't look really good into this game up against the Tigers, but yeah, hope things kind of turn around for Buddy Pugh and his squad, and I hope he goes out as a winner this season. I'm sure as good of a coach he is, he will find a way to get something out of his team to be competitive on the field. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely keep my fingers crossed to see what Buddy Pugh and his squad does for this season. But yeah, that's pretty much a little bit of the HBCU side of things, and yeah, that is pretty much just my rundown. Of course, one other thing I wanted to kind of go over with, like I said, guys, this is a very short show, but one of the things that I did want to go over with was top games of week 1 of the college football season. We are here, guys. This is week 1 of the season. So, it's going to be a lot of good games that we all want to see. So, this Thursday, we do have Florida going out to Utah to take on the Utes. That game is going to be very interesting. Like, I really, as I'm kind of just going through the schedule for this coming Saturday. Yeah, I really want to see this game really badly because the Utes over in the Pac-12, they're so stout, so consistent, I'd say. You don't really get that many teams that show that level of consistency with the way that they recruit. Of course, you have your Iowas, and in the past you've had your Northwesterns, but those teams do come a dime a dozen, and I really look at Utah as one of those teams, of course. So yeah, Utah and Florida is one of my top games of the week that I cannot wait to witness. Another game, of course, is Colorado taking on TCU. That game is interesting to me because I really want to see what Coach Prime does. Of course, first year with Colorado, want to see how he catches on to coaching out there for the Buffaloes. Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be an interesting game for sure. So yeah, that game is going to be a 11 a.m. early kickoff game on Fox if anyone wants to take a look at that game. And my final game that I do want to see is LSU at Florida State. That game is going to be at Camping World Stadium. So that's going to be an interesting game because knowing how both teams came out of the season, they really shocked a lot of people in terms of how the way they played last year. So whichever team wins or whichever team loses, can they use this opportunity to really step up and take the next step with their program? So I think I think this game is really going to define each team a lot. So yeah, those are some of my top games of week 1 of the college football season in 2023. Always tweet me or Zeke me. I don't know, guys. With X now, the app formerly known as Twitter, um, how to reach out. But yeah, just send me comments, of course, and Chris comments as well of what your favorite matchups will be this week. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the show this week, guys. Like I said, this is a very short show. Not much to talk about this week, of course, but me and Chris next week will definitely have a lot to unpack in the college football season because this is week 1, and we are all very much excited to see how all of our favorite teams will come out this year. So yeah, of course, follow me on X at Listen to KSW, and that way you can always, chime in, of course. And if you want to reach out to my boy Chris Bolton, you can reach out to Chris at Chris_Bolton_12 on X. You can talk to him about college football, basketball, baseball, the whole nine. Chris is willing to talk to you guys anytime about the world of sports. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. Like I said, we'll be back next week to talk about week 1 of the college football season. And me and Chris can't wait to talk to you guys about all of the news, all of the stories surrounding college football then. So yeah, y'all have a great week, and we'll talk to you guys then. Peace.